Hey guys, Matt Kelly here. Welcome again to another video. Before we get started, I just wanted to quickly mention 96% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you like this video or you want to follow along for the rest of this boating, fishing, excitement journey, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and yeah, enjoy the ride, because I'm having heaps of fun making videos again, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So the point of this video is all about this thing right here. We'll call it the MV Defiance. If you saw the big cinematic reveal video at the start of this year, really this was my ambition was to restore from scratch a boat that basically was destined for a scrap heap. This thing had rotten transom, rotten stringers, the whole thing was rotten out, and it was worth effectively nothing, right? Like, no one would buy that boat outside of me, right? We literally, like, the second you cut into that transom and saw like water dripping out of it, it wasn't made to be fixed. It's not big enough to justify a lot of expense, but it was something that I thought would be an awesome platform for a project, and that it was. We gutted the entire boat, ripped out the floor, ripped out the transom, all new fiberglass, everything. Basically made it bulletproof. As I'm not a professional boat builder or fiberglasser, as many of you guys will attest to, and you've told me in the comments, we basically went overkill. Everything that I did, I was like, if I'm not doing it properly, at least it will be solid and strong and heavy, and that's what we did. So, you know, the transom is beefy as we used just liters and liters of resin in this thing to get it to a point where it was going to be just strong. Because all I cared about was, if it was a boat that I was doing myself, it had to be strong and safe, and that's what we did. We built it, launched it end of last year, had it in the water, have been out in it many times, caught some cool fish in it, including some big sharks. It's been really cool. I haven't shot a lot of videos in it, but it has been a really fun boat. But it's not the perfect boat, and that's why it's here right now on a trailer and not in the water or on the jetty where I usually store the boats. And I thought it was probably time to do a video update on that, and I'm trying to work out what next for this thing, and I thought, you know, I might as well just tell you guys the story and share the journey with you, and if any of you guys want to jump on board or get involved, or, I don't know, have ideas, I'm all ears, because at the moment right now it's literally sitting on a trailer not getting used. So I'll start from the top. When I first put it in the water, I obviously had a 30 horsepower tiller steer engine on it, which I thought would be about right for this size of boat, and it turns out it is, right? At top speed, when the boat's trimmed down perfectly in flat water, it freaking flies. I don't know what speed, it'd be 30 something knots, but it's fast. It's really fast, and for the size of the boat, definitely fast enough. But getting up on the plane, I actually quite struggled with initially, and some of you guys pointed out in the comments where even at full throttle, it would just bog, the transom would just bog down. It would always get there, but it would just take a couple of minutes, and it would go quite high up and just sit there. And I attribute that back down to the weight, right? You're sitting in the back, the engine's sitting on the back. It's a heavy boat at best, and I just couldn't get it there. Now I ended up putting a hydrofoil on the outboard, and the benefit of that, and the hydrofoil actually works really well, the benefit of that was that it did give you just a little bit faster time to get back down on the plane. And once it's on the plane, it's totally fine, but that was always something that always frustrated me a little bit, because it felt like if I'd had a side console, or probably would have been better is a center seated console, sort of midway or even towards the front, which I think is actually what this boat is designed for. I actually think this boat would be the best boat I've ever owned. I didn't want to do a console. I was too worried about taking too much space. It's only a small floor, and I didn't want to have a big console and a seat mounted in the center of the floor where that's all your working space removed. But I do think it would be a better riding boat if you did that. I actually think this style of boat was originally designed to have a steering wheel right at the front. This boat itself could have actually had this steering wheel right at the front, speedboat style. It kind of makes sense for it to have had that, and it wouldn't surprise me if that was how it was designed and how it was originally built. But I think if you had a steering wheel about sort of that line there, about sort of 2/3 of the way forward, and then an outboard with forward steering controls, I think it would be a machine. I actually don't even think it needs a bigger engine. I think if you just shifted the weight further forward, I think that would be perfect. And with that, shifting battery forward and everything else, it would sit really flat and nice in the water pretty much all the time. So I think it needed that, and that's something that I haven't done, and frankly, I've invested a lot of money in this boat if I look at paint and glass and gear and engine and everything, it's a lot of cash has gone into a boat that's worth nothing so far. So for me at this point, I actually don't really want to invest that in it, but I know it's what the boat needs. The other thing that's interesting is because we built it so heavy, so solid, so strong, it sits deep in the water. So I actually think this is more of a flat water boat than a bay boat. You could have told me that based on the shape of the hull. I think it's just definitely designed for lakes, rivers, creeks, that kind of stuff. And where we are, it can get quite rough. There's a little clip of a video that I'll insert right here where I was out fishing and fishing for sharks and ended up hooking into a big one. A mate jumped out of his boat into my boat, and it just sat so deep in the water that when we were sort of leaning over to actually like grab the shark and get the hook out and everything else, like the water was almost up at the gunnels there, and that's like just not worth it in those areas where it does get a bit of movement in the swell. So in that respect, I know that we built it heavy, and that's really, really cool in flat water, but heavy boat that sits deep in the water and is small in rough water isn't that ideal. So that's another sort of con of this boat. I've done a few other interesting things. So while I've sort of been trying to work out what to do next, I actually went back to the alloy tinny that all this stuff started with, this channel started with. It's still at my parents' place, and I've done a few things. We've done a new floor in it. We've done a depth sounder, which we've got a transducer video on how we've done that. Mostly just because it's actually the ideal boat for that environment style of fishing. I can fish in next to no water, which is really cool. I can bash it because it's literally just straight plate metal, right? It's like or pressed metal, so it's not like, you know, I'm too stressed about it on the beach or on the rocks or anything. It's pretty robust in that respect. The 30 horsepower is overkill on it. It's absolutely overkill on it, but if I play it safe, it's totally fine. It goes fast. It goes really, really fast, but I never have to push it full throttle because it's just such a lightweight boat. We've just got a new floor in it, which is cool, and that's a boat that I think I'll continue to use when I want that small, light little bay boat to get into the beaches and whatever else. And I guess what's in my mind now is what's next? What's the next project? What should I be playing with? I think that I need to go something bigger, something that I'm actually going to use, you know, in the short to medium term. You guys have seen me cycle through several different boats in the past few years, from the first little resto we did, to the half cabin, to the Razor Cat, back to this boat. And I think for me, part of the fun and the journey is actually in the getting the boat, working on the boat, like having a little play with it. But really, it's like that journey is more exciting for me than actually spending time in the water, which might be crazy to many of you, but for me, that's been fun. So with that in mind, the question is, what's next? I'm still going out in the boat, I'm still going out in the water, I'm still doing that stuff, and I intend on continuing to do that. So my intention is to keep fishing the local bay areas in the tinny that we've got now. I will probably do another project boat, but this time round, I want to do a bigger boat, I want to do it properly, and I want to do it with help. So I'm thinking about, you know, is it worth, every time we've done a big boat restoration video, and you guys will see it as you scroll through my channel, every time we've done a big boat restoration video, the boat restoration videos get tens to hundreds of thousands of views. The fishing videos might get a couple of thousand views. So I know that my channel has always performed best in that restoration space, or in that like boat gear space, rather than going out and trying to catch stuff, which is cool, right? I'm not known for my fishing skills by any means. I just enjoy it. But the boat stuff is something that I find really fun and interesting. And I think teaming up with the right people will be smart. That, for me, that's everything from paint to glass to like helping someone to help me build, or at least who I can even pay, right? Who has the capacity and capability to take something that might be old, might be a half cabin, cut the cabin off, turn it into a big center console or center cabin. There's all kinds of cool stuff that we could do in the future. And that's sort of the space I want to play in, I think. I want to play in that sort of 5 to 6.5 meter size range, something that we might even anti-foul and leave in the water so I can get out there every other day. Because that's where I think we'll be able to have the most fun, learn the most as far as building goes, share, and I can just share all of that stuff with you, because that's what I want to learn, right? That's the stuff that I don't know, is when you get to that size, I'm sure the same learnings that I learned here scale, but it's a different beast, and that's exciting to me, right? It's another level up, it's another part of the step in the journey, and that's cool. What that leaves, though, is this thing right here. So it's in pretty good shape. It's been used, like I've used it a lot. The paint job isn't perfect. You guys saw that in the last step of the restoration video, and it's fun. I personally think it needs probably a couple of grand invested into it. I'm probably going to keep the engine no matter what on the tinny, so it probably needs an engine, probably center or side console. Given such a small boat, I would tend to go center console, but I wouldn't do stand-up console because it's only 3.67 meters long, so it's not a long boat. A center console, if you were standing up, would feel very I don't know, I don't think that would go too well. I think you want a seated console, probably further forward, and it would be a beast, right? It would be an awesome boat. But I don't know, that's just in the back of my head. I might keep it, and I might just leave that as a project to do sometime in the future, but I thought I would just plant that seed with you guys and see if any of you guys are interested or want to even just take on the project. Mate, I'll sell it for parts at this point because it's just sitting here doing nothing. The boat is registered, the trailer is not, so that's something that if I do give it to someone, that they'll have to work out a way to get it out and home and whatever else. But really, it's decent bones at this point. So I'm just putting that out there. If any of you guys want to jump on that, feel free to shoot me an email. My details will be in the description below. And yeah, that's the channel update. So thanks so much for watching, and I apologise for not doing many videos. The whole lockdowns and quarantines that everyone's going through right now has sort of impacted everyone, and for me it's meant a lot more time in the business and a lot less time on YouTube, obviously, because there hasn't been a new video in months. But I've got a few little videos up the sleeve that I want to do, so that's my intention for the next little while. I've got a video that I'm actually going to release pretty soon, which is it's actually an update on a cool technique that I learned on how to remove dry sealants and Sikaflexes, which, while it might sound almost trivial as a video topic, when I was searching for it when I needed it, it didn't exist. I was like, screw it, I'm filming it. So that's coming soon. And the other one that I've got coming really, really soon is a video on how we've added the transducer to the tinny without drilling any holes. Because what I didn't want to do with the tinny was drill holes in the back of my dad. It's effectively my dad's boat, right? And it's like, while I've got an awesome Lowrance Elite TI2 sounder, it's brand new. I did use it in this boat for a little while, but I was like, man, I want to use it more regularly, and I don't want to have to install it permanently on his boat. Because the truth is I don't want to drill holes in it when I'm probably going to remove it later and put it on a bigger boat. So with that, we've tested a few different ways to do temporary transducer mounting. So I've got a video on that coming up soon as well. But that's the immediate short term. If anything in this video has captured your attention and you want to get involved, help, whatever, have any ideas or thoughts, feel free to leave a comment below. As I mentioned, please don't forget to subscribe. Would really appreciate that. Or otherwise, just send me an email. Always happy to talk and share ideas. I'm up for the project and the excitement. So let's see how it goes. Cheers, guys, and I'll talk to you all soon. See ya.